Welcome to today's championship race, which is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas and Albon, Ricciardo, Ocon, Sainz and Lando Norris, Perez, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat and Stroll, Gasly, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
4, 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Hamilton gets off the strong start. Looks like the McLaren got off to a strong start back there. Hamilton moves over aggressively on Max Verstappen. Verstappen to the outside, Hamilton on the inside. Who's going to get the better exit? Bash! Verstappen loses the back end on the exit of turn 1, which has allowed Hamilton to take the lead of this race as Verstappen has a look. But it's Hamilton who holds the lead. Now they go down the Camel Straight. It's going to be Verstappen, Hamilton, and Vettel all in contention for this win as they go down this straight now to try and get up into first place, and it's Hamilton who holds the lead. That powerful Mercedes engine coming out on top. Now Hamilton is pulling a decent gap on Verstappen. He was quicker in qualifying, but not that much quicker. It was pretty close between the two, but now Hamilton is really flexing the muscles of his car as he pulls away from Max Verstappen. He's pulling away from Vettel in Sector 2, but in Sectors 1 and 3, it looks like Vettel is going to have the advantage, at least in Sector 1. And 3, there is that bus stop chicane, which could help Verstappen. Let's go down the straight. Bottas did not qualify well yesterday. Now as we go down the grid here, we can see where everyone is placed. So it looks like Lance Stroll is a bit down the grid here. As the only cars, well, the cars behind him are definitely not quicker than him. As Kimi Raikkonen's doing an alright job, a bit higher, and Russell is behind Latifi, but now we go back to the front. Hamilton continues to pull that gap on Verstappen. Verstappen just not really able to keep up with the pure speed of that Mercedes, and just Hamilton being great. And Verstappen loses the back end there again. It's lost him time once again, but Vettel is just not quick enough in the corners to stay with Verstappen, or at least to make it back up on the straight. Leclerc down in 5th place. They're behind Albon, surprisingly enough, so it looks like the Red Bulls are surprisingly quick this weekend, a lot quicker than I think a lot of us were expecting. This was really not supposed to be a track that they were going to do well at. Now Bottas way down there. 5 places behind his teammate. Very unfortunate for Bottas after not a great qualifying yesterday, and for the sake of the championship, he certainly would have wanted a little bit more. Now we can see the top 2 are pulling away from P3, 4, 5, and 6. And battle for third can still be taken. Third place can still be taken by 3 other drivers. Other than, of course, the man in third place right now, which is Sebastian Vettel. Albon is behind Vettel. He's going to have DRS this lap. As you can see, it's wide open on that straight, the DRS. While Hamilton, who was in front of Max in the championship, is just pulling away. Now onto the straight they go. Albon's in Vettel's DRS. Will he be able to make this overtake? Here he goes, DRS slipstream. Will it be enough? Here he goes on Sebastian Vettel. Vettel goes defensive, and Albon can't make a move. Good defensive driving from Vettel, but it does mean that both his teammate and Albon are much closer to him now, and through the second sector he has been struggling quite a lot. So surely they will be all over him next lap. As Bottas isn't really putting on the pressure as much as I was expecting, given the speed of his car, and given where Hamilton is. Hamilton's a good 7-8 seconds up the road already. Albon using the overtake button mid-corner there. Now look at that, Leclerc all over the back of Albon. Charles Leclerc has a look, but it's not enough, obviously. Needs to be a little bit more aggressive than that if he's to get past Alex Albon. Albon gets great exit off the corner. As Albon surprisingly has lost a lot of time to Vettel. Looks like the dirty air really did slow him down because he did lose quite a bit of time there, but with the DRS he couches back up to basically where he was last lap, maybe a bit further back. So he is further back this time, and I don't think he'll really be a threat on the straight now. They go flying down there. We can see Hamilton Verstappen way up ahead there, and then it's Vettel followed by Albon, and then Leclerc. And Vettel doesn't need to go defensive because Albon isn't close enough to make a move, and since Albon has DRS, it means that Leclerc can't get past him. They are flying down this straight here. If Albon could get past Vettel, I think he would pull away, but he can't get past Vettel. You know, after his win in the last race, has to be said, he is doing a decent job. And there goes Leclerc and Bottas into the pits, not Vettel and Hamilton, surprisingly enough. Because they were the cars in front, but it seems like Leclerc and Bottas have a lot to gain with this undercut if they can pull it off properly. Or maybe the overcut's going to be quicker, but based off what we see, the undercut should be quicker at this track. And now we can see Albon closer to Vettel than he was last lap. He's got no one to defend behind him, so he can absolutely go for it on the straight. Here he goes. He's much closer to Vettel. Look at that. Here they go down the straight. What's going to happen? Vettel goes defensive. Albon goes to the outside. They're going to go side by side into the braking zone. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's going to be Albon as he holds it around the outside, but Vettel comes back at him. They're still side by side. It's an incredible battle. Alex Albon round the outside. What a move as Vettel had to slow down so he didn't crash into him. Great driving from the two of them. Great respect between the two drivers, but Albon gets in front of Vettel, and that means I think Vettel's going to come out behind both Leclerc and Bottas, almost guaranteed. In fact, both of them, because the other two are doing the undercut as well as not battling this hard. But look at that, Albon has already pulled a decent gap on Vettel here in Sector 2. Of course, this is Sector 2 where the Red Bull is going to be the quickest, but at the same time, has to be said, he is pulling away a decent amount. We look back down the grid, and that's Max Verstappen behind both Norris and Kimi. Kimi doing a decent job, like I said earlier, in this race. It's almost a pit stop in front of his teammate, but anyways, that's not important, as Max Verstappen is going to go right around the outside of Lando Norris. Look at this, just like he did in 2015 on the fresh tires. Right around the outside, coming into the braking zone. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's going to be Verstappen down the inside of Kimi Räikkönen. He pushes Kimi and breaks part of his front wing there. Very aggressive overtake, but he needed to make it. He needed to make that overtake. Hamilton did not pit last lap because Bottas was in the pits, and now, because of course Hamilton didn't have as much to lose because he was so far in front of Verstappen, but now he's not. Look at that, Max Verstappen, much closer to Lewis Hamilton. And sorry, Kimi did not pit. He had not already pit, obviously. I don't know why I said he was pits up in front of his teammate. I was kind of confused, actually. But he is, he has broken part of his front wing, as Verstappen had to make that dive bomb, or else he wouldn't be this close to Hamilton. Look at that, he's all over the back of Lewis. And as they both chase down Antonio Giovinazzi, but it was a very, very aggressive move from Max to go around the outside, just like he did in 2015 on Felipe Nasr. And then he launched it down the inside of not only Norris, but Kimi as well. I don't think Kimi thought he was going to make that move, but he went on to make it. And a good job to Verstappen to still make the move work, but it was a little bit dirty. But at the end of the day, that dirty move has allowed him to catch up to Hamilton. And it wasn't that dirty. Of course, Kimi did lose his front wing, but at the end of the day, nobody spun. Nobody's wheels came off, so Verstappen is currently in a effective P2, as he is all over the back of Lewis Hamilton now, but Hamilton's on the back of Giovinazzi, surely. I mean, he's caught up a lot there. Will Hamilton do the same thing that Verstappen did? Not quite, he's just going to tuck in behind. Here he is on the back of Giovinazzi. He can't quite go for it. On board with Max Verstappen. Verstappen goes for it down the inside. Look at that, and Giovinazzi pulls into the pits. That's going to allow these two to battle. Hamilton comes back at him as they go down the straight. They both have DRs from Giovinazzi. Then they go down the straight. Hamilton goes defensive. Verstappen goes to the outside. This is incredible racing. Both on fresh tires. Now Verstappen's going to get the better exit. We saw that Verstappen was on the back of Hamilton. Hamilton didn't have the aggression to overtake Giovinazzi. I'm pretty sure he knew Gio was going to pit anyways, so he didn't have to go for that overtake, but Max saw it. We saw he broke, and then he kind of just beat him under trail braking. And here goes Verstappen. Hamilton goes defensive. Look at the squeeze. Down the straight they go. Max Verstappen on the outside, late on the brakes. Around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen makes it work. Hamilton comes back at him. They're going to go side by side in the next corner. Right round the outside they go. They're still side by side. Hamilton's on the outside. Look at the straight line speed of that Mercedes. He also got a better exit. Verstappen's down on the inside. They're still side by side. Max Verstappen takes the lead of the race. Incredible racing here in Belgium, but Max Verstappen, his ballsy overtake on Hamilton has meant that now, finally, he has overtaken Hamilton with defensive into turn 1, which allowed Max to get a better exit, and he was all over him coming onto the Kemmel Straight, and then he just went right past him, and then Hamilton was later on the brakes. No, sorry, Max was later on the brakes, but then he ended up out-braking himself into the left-hander, which meant he went a little bit wide, and Hamilton came back at him around the outside, and then they were side by side, and then Verstappen sent it down the inside. But anyways, that was before. This is now. Hamilton's coming back at Verstappen. Here they go. Verstappen goes a little bit wide. Hamilton has a look on the inside. Hamilton's on the inside. Hamilton has a look down the inside. He doesn't go for it though. There's a couple looks there, but he doesn't actually go for it. Interesting stuff from Lewis to not go for that overtake. Now Hamilton's going to have that DRS. We know how strong that Mercedes engine has been all season. Verstappen very close to the wall there. Really getting the limit out of the track, but it doesn't matter because that Honda isn't as strong as the Mercedes, and I believe the Red Bull has more drag. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen goes defensive. Hamilton goes to the outside, sparking away into the braking zone. Hamilton's on the outside. Verstappen's on the inside. Max Verstappen brakes later. And Verstappen stays in front. Here comes Hamilton, though. Is he going to make a move into the next corner? No, he's not quite close enough as we look back there. Bottas over in the third place as he gets past, I believe that's Sebastian Vettel. No, it's Charles Leclerc. Of course, like I predicted, Bottas and Leclerc were going to overtake Vettel and Albon because Vettel and Albon were battling and they were on old tires. But anyways, Esteban Ocon is also overtaking Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo looked pretty comfortable where he was, but now Ocon, from quite some ways back, was able to catch up and pass Daniel Ricciardo. I believe Ocon did get the undercut though, but still good driving from Esteban to try and beat his teammate in this race. So we cut back to the lead battle here. Incredible racing here in Belgium. Hamilton, look at the straight line speed he's got. He catches right back up to Verstappen. Hamilton goes to the outside. Verstappen's later on the brakes. Hamilton has a look. Look at that, right around the outside. He's going to the inside of the next corner. Verstappen has to leave him in the room. They're going to go side by side. Hamilton's going to have DRS. They come into the next corner. Verstappen has the inside. Hamilton has the outside. It's going to be later on the brakes here. It's Hamilton's on the outside. Verstappen is the inside. Verstappen doesn't squeeze Hamilton too hard, but Hamilton is to the outside. Verstappen gets a better exit and comes out in front, but Hamilton's all over the back of him. Lewis Hamilton into the bus stop. I was very surprised. That was a great attempt at a move. Here he goes. Lewis Hamilton on Max Verstappen. Verstappen now defends to the outside. Look at that. He's defending. Lewis very tight down the inside. Who's going to be latest in the race? Verstappen goes to the outside. Hamilton is the inside. Verstappen is the inside. Then Hamilton is the inside. Hamilton gets back into the lead. He squeezes Verstappen. They go side by side. Verstappen squeezes Hamilton. Look at that. Verstappen very late on the brakes, but a little bit too late for himself. Clean around the outside of Hamilton. Would you believe it? The racing here in Belgium. Absolutely incredible. Now continuing on board with Hamilton here as he's in pursuit of Max Verstappen. Max gets a good exit off of the corner, and that's allowed him to pull a bit of a gap on Hamilton, but Hamilton's going to try and come back at him, but Max does seem like he is kind of pulling away now. Hamilton comes a bit closer. Under braking, he's not close enough. Once again, he has DRS as he goes down the start-finish straight. With only a few laps remaining in this race, it looks like Lewis might run out of time, or at least pace, to get past. Now, Bottas is in front of... Valtteri Bottas, yes, is in front of Leclerc, Vettel, and Albon. So a good comeback from him. 2 overtakes in the pits, and then 1 overtake on track on Leclerc right around the outside after the Camel Straight. Now here comes Hamilton, but he's once again not close enough to Verstappen. So you look back earlier, Ocon was in front of Daniel Ricciardo, but you can see Verstappen hasn't taken the best line through there, and that's allowed Hamilton to really catch up. He did go a little bit defensive, perhaps a little bit worried Lewis might just launch it down the inside or something. But once again through the corners, Lewis hit by that dirty air. He's lost a tiny bit of time there, but now they go through Pouhon. Flying through here, it's beautiful to watch these cars fly through there as they are so fast as Hamilton is on the outside. And Verstappen again takes a bit of a defensive line, or at least he doesn't go all the way to the left like I guess he usually does, or I guess as every driver does, or maybe he's just finds it faster not to go all the way to the left, but I highly doubt that. But anyways, Hamilton is now right on the back of Max Verstappen. And surely into bus stop he will have another look. We saw last time he had a try. Here he is on the back of Max Verstappen. Going out there, late on the brakes. Hamilton's later on the brakes. He's going to send it around the outside. Verstappen closes the door. Hamilton, though, was later on the brakes there, and that is very interesting. But that was the final lap of the race, his final attempt at overtaking Max Verstappen, and he has failed. So Max Verstappen somehow wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Great defensive and offensive drive from him as Verstappen wins here in Belgium.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improve their position in the championship. Well, Ants, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.